These days, you can get practically everything on demand, like our podcast. Listen whenever you want, when it's convenient for you. Well, did you know you can even get postage on demand now? All you need is Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, you can access all the services of the post office right from your desk. Buy and print real U.S. postage for any letter or any package. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just click, print, mail, and you're done. Stamps.com will even send you a digital scale. You can weigh your letters and packages and print the exact amount of postage every time. Right now, use ATH for this special offer. A 4-week trial that includes postage and a digital scale. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in ATH. That's Stamps.com. Enter ATH.
If you're a smoker, you know switching isn't easy. You've tried vapes and e-cigs. They just didn't deliver the satisfaction you expected. But Juul is different. It's not an e-cigarette. It's a vapor product that actually satisfies. Plus, Juul is simple to use, and there's no cigarette ash and no lingering odor. As a smoker, you expect a certain nicotine experience, right? Juul delivers. Give Juul a try. Check out JUUL.com/sports. Switch and be satisfied. Yes, you can do both. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Kalisha, Adande, Yates, Ryan. Clinton, where you at?
I'm in transit to Los Angeles, California for Game 3 of the World Series.
There you go, Scoop. Come on, panelists, cover a game. Whether it's been suboptimal decisions or just the Red Sox being better. Also, Steph Curry in the greatest game ever where you don't play in the fourth quarter and your 2 actual best shots don't count. And Giannis with the greatest assist ever to clinch a triple-double. I say that fully knowing no one remembers an assist in a triple-double, but look at that pass. Let's go around the horn. Was that bird-like, Bob Ryan?
Very bird-like.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony Reali.
JD Martinez is just about the best hitter in baseball. For him to do this in the biggest at-bat of the World Series is not surprising, could be expected. But per Mike Petrillo, StatCast, look at Yasiel Puig and where he was playing. Much deeper than the average right fielder versus Martinez, much deeper than the average right fielder in Fenway. That, along with Madsen not being able to close a tab, and Price, and the lefty bats the Dodgers aren't using much of, and the righty bats that aren't using much of the bat, and it's 2-0 Boston. Bob Ryan, you were there as well. When you're taking everything that's gone down in these 2 games, do you find yourself thinking the Dodgers are misplaying this, that Dave Roberts is mismanaging this, or that the Red Sox are just better?
I believe that the ratio is somewhere between 80-20 and 90-10 in favor of the Red Sox simply playing better baseball and as opposed to the much questioned managerial moves or non-moves of Dave Roberts. But I got to take Roberts off the hook. For example, on the Nunez home run, the pitch was at his shoe tops. No pitcher in the world is faulted for throwing that pitch to anybody and have it result the way it did. All right, now, other things. The Red Sox are out playing them. Better situational hitting, as you know, the 2-out things. Dodgers last night have the final 16 guys retired. The Dodgers are a grip and rip team that do not do situational hitting apparently very well. The Dodgers don't play smart defense, at least not in that first game. For example, Bogarts beats out a ground ball for a double to beat out a double play, and it would have been out if a guy who's not a first baseman, namely David Freese, stretches, which was pointed out by a great first baseman, Mark Teixeira, or else I wouldn't have noticed it myself, though I'm a good student of first base play. You add it all up, and they're playing better, but Roberts isn't helping things. I'll just put it that way.
Is there anything else to say? Do we even have time for the rest of the show? Clinton Yates, please join us.
Well, what are you supposed to do when the Red Sox have this many buttons to press? David Price finally shows up and looks great. He's throwing a bunch of first pitch strikes, and even when they start getting on him, his defense is behind him to help him out. And you've got the fact that you can bring in Eovaldi once again in the eighth to make a game nothing before you get to the closer. It's amazing. And half the Red Sox runs in the playoffs have come with 2 outs or more. I'm sorry. At this point, I'm just believing that the Red Sox are the better baseball team. And yes, the Fenway factor matters. That Puig thing is a major element. In the first game, it added to another run as a result of a throw that he tried to make home, and they got another run around too.
Well, that's defensive positioning, right? Yes. Going to the bullpen for a guy who's allowed every inherited runner he's seen, Madsen, to score this season, that's also on a manager making a decision to do that. So knowing that, Don, I ask you, is some of this on Dave Roberts, or is it just Boston being better?
It's Boston being better. As Charles Barkley said, hey, they're just better than they are. You know, everyone wants to point to the distance that Puig was playing now. So now you want to get into the numbers when you're criticizing Dave Roberts for going too much by the analytics and the data. Make up your minds, people. The bottom line is the Boston Red Sox have shown that they can put innings together, right? They were tops in the league in scoring and hitting, even though they weren't a top 5 home run hitting team. The Dodgers are dependent on a home run. It's getting colder. The bats are tightening up, so they're not hitting and they're not getting long balls, which I think they will get in L.A. But right now it's not happening. For people saying Dave Roberts isn't using enough of his players, he sent 13 hitters to the plate throughout the course of the game last night. They got only 3 hits, right? The Red Sox are simply outplaying the Dodgers. It's not about being outmanaged.
The weather is getting colder and the Red Sox lead is getting larger. Tim Callis should join us.
You know, I will say this. Roberts is managing the same way he did to get here. Cora is managing like this is the World Series and there's no tomorrow. I will pitch my Game 4 starter in relief in Games 1 and Game 2 if that's what is called for. I didn't like taking Pedro Baez out in the first game by Dave Roberts. He had struck out the last 2 outs. And I know you wanted to get Devers out of there, but obviously it didn't work to bring in Wood. But having said all that, the Red Sox played 2 teams that had more wins and are arguably better than the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Astros. They went 7-2 against them. They are the best team in baseball right now by a wide margin, and there's not much the Dodgers have been able to do about it.
Anybody know Ryan Madson's ERA in the World Series right now?
0.00. The most
exactly right, Adonde.
in baseball.
0.00. Because he's allowed all the inherited runners to score. Our dear friend Bill Plaschke says the Los Angeles Dodgers bats have turned to chowder, and the team is unrecognizable, and that their strategy hasn't been worth being so far. He also says going home to L.A. is not going to be a cure-all. Clinton, how much will things change when this series shifts to Los Angeles?
Well, you know, when I talked to Bill on Tuesday, he said it's over, but he just didn't write it. I'm kidding. What I think is actually going to change is what Dave Roberts said. He said he was going to flip the lineup anyway. It didn't matter whether or not these guys had been doing getting the production they wanted to in Boston. He's got 320 home run hitters on the bench who he's not starting. I think once he makes that decision and turns that over, they're going to be better at home anyway, and they'll get the ball out a little more.
He's got 420 home run hitters who weren't playing because of the lefty-righty situation. Adonde, how about you?
Warmer weather will help the ball travel better and also help the pitchers get a better grip and throw better breaking balls as well.
Okay. That would apply, of course, to both teams. And Kalisha, last word to you. Any strategy changes?
No DH. That helps the Dodgers. The Red Sox going to have to put Martinez out in the outfield, maybe move Betts to second base, and the weather will help and the pitching matchups will help.
And, Bob, since you're in Boston, just talk to us about that Betts move to second base and how realistic that is.
It's conceivable, but I think doubtful in the end. I think they will not risk that because of the potential of injury.
Really? Okay. We'll move on. Let's talk basketball. Warriors 144, Wizards 122. Of all the shots Steph Curry hit in this game, the 2 best ones were the ones that didn't count. That one that was whistled before, and the one in pregame, which was the genesis of that shot, off the bounce. This game also had Durant asking I don't want to play them anyway weak. At least that's what it looked like, as Liv said. 51 for Curry. He sat the whole 4th. Tim Curry sat out the 4th. Tim Curry. No. Should Kerr have given the people what the people wanted? More Curry?
Yes, he would. He's already said this year is for Oakland, for the city of Oakland. Let's give those fans at that game, the 60-point game, the 70-point game. Let him play 6 more minutes in the 4th quarter. What I hated 2 years ago about Kevin Durant going to Golden State is we would see less and less of the Steph Curry show. It's not necessary. They got too many great players. This is one night he had it going. Should have let him keep going.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1 = 21 for Tim on Curry. How about you, Adonde?
Underrated development in this game.
Nobody gets that.
Durant still managed to score 30 points even while Curry was doing his thing. So they found a way where they can both succeed, which took a while to adjust when Durant first got there. But you have to think about the big picture, Tim, and the big picture is you have to rest Curry when you can. I don't think this Warrior team will be able to get the separation that they did in the past when Curry was sitting out 4th quarters on his way to winning the MVP. The league has closed the gap on them in a lot of ways. We saw it in their first 3 games. All tight games, and so if you can rest him, you better do it now for a player that's been to the finals the last 4 years.
We had the GMs, and 88% said the season, of course, was the Warriors, and everyone, when they signed Cousins, for sure, the Warriors were going to win again. You're saying the separation is not what it's been in years past.
You saw the Utah game, you saw the Denver game, right? Close games.
Clint Yates, you want to join in there?
What have we been complaining about the past 2 seasons in the NBA? It's the biggest stars not playing in the games at all. So when Curry gets in and has a monster game blowing up, I am thankful. You know why? Because other teams are not actually playing their stars. I know that because the Raptors sat Kawhi Leonard against the Wizards and beat them anyway. So if other teams are actually already sitting their stars and we get 3/4 of this from Curry, no complaints from me because it was gorgeous. Great game.
Bob, what did you see from Curry last night? It's a 51-point game in 3/4. Could it have been a 60 game? Could it have been a 70 game that we got robbed of?
Yes, very possibly. And as far as the rest is concerned, March 27th, April 8th, sure. October 24th, stop it. Let them play. Give the fans a show.
All right, we've all wowed over the scores of the games this season. The league average right now is 118 to 107. It's the highest PPG since 1971. It's the best offensive rating in NBA history, though. I mean, I'll hazard to guess, Bob, that you never heard John Havlicek talk to you about offensive rating for those Celtics teams. And that was, of course, before they had a three-point line as well. Jay, let me ask you this. Is it that shooters have gotten so good? Is it that defenders have just given up and gotten worse? Or is it that everybody likes offense, wants offense, so here comes the offense?
Well, the rules have changed to emphasize scoring, but I'd also say the coaches have emphasized scoring, unlike, say, the 90s when you had everybody slowing the game down to a crawl. Why? Because they didn't have skilled players. Remember, they had to move the three-point line in to like 22 feet. Can you imagine Steph Curry with the 22-foot three-point line? But we have a generation now of more skilled players that are being encouraged to shoot, and it is an offensive game. So we see the progression over the last 20 years, and it's for the better. I love watching this game. And pace. Did you see, Ben Simmons was pushing up the ball last night against the Bucks? Magic Johnson-like pace. All for it.
Kalisha?
Is it a great offensive game if players aren't allowed to play defense? That's what I'm wondering about. Has it gradually been legislated out of the game, the hand checking we saw 20 years ago, and what players are allowed to do today? And another key thing this year, offensive rebounds, the shot clock goes back to 14 instead of 24. That's giving teams more possessions. Fundamentally, they're playing about a 50 to 52-minute game now.
Bob Ryan?
Yes, it's a combination of things. Obviously, the shooting is better. More people can shoot, including 7-footers who would never dreamed of taking shots such as this years ago. The defensive thing is self-evident. The tempo absolutely is the number one thing. When I started covering the league back in the late 60s, early 70s, if you didn't take 100 shots a game, you weren't going to win. And now, and possessions and shots attempted, check them out. They're way, way up.
They're right back to where they were. They're even higher than they were for the last 30 years.
And it's all about coaching mentality, because there were coaches in the old days who were happier when they did not have the ball than when they do. Now we're getting rid of those guys, and we have people that want to move it. And, hey, by the way, thank you, Mike D'Antoni. You showed the way.
Okay, Tim, let me ask you what Tim just said, though, that the defense has been legislated out of the game. Those hand checks that we saw in the Knicks Heat series of the 90s. Are you missing those, Bob?
No, I'm not. No, that's not the point. No, tempo. All I ever wanted was tempo, pressure. What J.A. was talking about, the return to pushing the ball. Push it after makes. That's what people are doing now.
Ben Yates.
You know, my esteemed colleagues have referred to basketball of yesteryear. Myself, I refer to video games of yesteryear back in the NBA Live 95 days when everybody was jacking up shots, and that's what the league looks like now, and I'm fine with that, okay? Steve Kerr himself said that about Curry's performance and reminded him of a video game. Why would you not want more people putting the ball in the basket? That's the goal of the game. It's gorgeous. Again.
Yeah, it was just something Kalisha said when he said legislated out of the game that harkens back to me for the NFL discussion we're having. And what I would say is the difference between those two are that one game is predicated on physicality, right? I mean, that's what it is. And the safety is such an issue with the NFL, which is why some people, personally myself, take umbrage with the fact that defense has been legislated out of the game a little bit. But the NBA, that doesn't really apply. It's not that type of game. We're taking a break right here. We're going to fire sell on the other side. Stick around. Monkey brains, though popular in Cantonese cuisine, not often to be found in Washington, D.C.
You've reached the voicemail of Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron, my man, it's your favorite sports agent, Gabe. Listen, I may have ever so slightly dinged your side mirror pulling out of your driveway. Give me a shout. Bad news, your side mirror's broken. Good news, the other dents are so bad you won't even notice the mirror. Ciao.
Hey, Aaron, Patrick with State Farm here. Sounds like we have ourselves another Gabe situation. No worries, though. State Farm's got you covered.
For agents who are there for you, go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Buy or sell.
Thursday Night Football, Dolphins-Texans. Would you be more interested if it were actual Dolphins with big flipping biceps? Texans have won 4 straight. Miami, eternally a mystery, but it's Brocktober. Deshaun Watson, no need to ask for medical clearance to fly to a home game, so that's a good sign. Tim, you're a Texan. Who's tonight more important for? Who's got more to prove? Who you got?
The amazing thing, Tony, is after tonight, one of these teams is 5-3, and I have no idea how whoever it's going to be got there. I would actually pick the Dolphins if they had a little better pass rush, because Houston's offensive line has not been able to protect Deshaun Watson. That's why he's riding buses across the country. But I don't think the Dolphins have a good enough pass rush, so give me Houston.
Okay, down there.
Tim, I'd be inclined to pick the Dolphins if they had a better passing attack. But Brock Osweiler has been more dependent on yards after the catch for a percentage of his yards than any other QB in the league. And guess what? He just lost the league leader in yards after catch. That was Albert Wilson, who's out with injury. So therefore, I'm going with the Texans.
Ben Yates.
Man, I really hope they change that marketing campaign before Washington plays Dallas later this year. But Bill O'Brien told us last week the hardest thing to do in the league is to win an NFL football game. The hardest thing to do is keep your job if you don't win NFL football games. But even Deshaun, after rode that bus, they won the game. That's the craziest part about this. This is bigger than
Bob Ryan.
Yes, indeed, the Texans are playing for Bill O'Brien's job, whether they want to or not. Now, consider this. One of these teams has won 4 in a row. The other team's lost 3 out of 4. I think both trends will continue. Give me Houston.
So you got Houston in the game. We'll move on. Buy or sell 2, Eagles, Jaguars, Sunday. That's a matchup of 11 seeds in the playoffs right now. Here's Malcolm Jenkins.
I've always maintained, and every chance I get to say, Colin Kaepernick has started this. Eric Reid deserves a job. Colin Kaepernick deserves a job. I can turn on the tape this week and our opponent and see that Colin Kaepernick deserves a job.
GA, is it fair for Jenkins to call out an opposing team he's playing in a foreign country in 3 days for their QB issues?
I think I follow that. But look, regardless of location, any and all teams that are having quarterback problems and refuse to consider Kaepernick over these past 2 years deserve all the shade coming their way. The other issue I have, though, is that this has become about Colin Kaepernick instead of about the issues he was trying to raise, most notably police brutality. We're not talking about that anymore.
The other thing Jenkins said is that he got into this in order to try to help his community with his causes. That's fine. And if it's not about Colin Kaepernick, that's okay as well. It certainly has nothing to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars, of all people. So why did that come up at all? You tell me.
Bob Ryan?
The issue was hijacked away from Colin Kaepernick a long, long time ago. But as far as what Jenkins said is concerned, he didn't have to imply any shade on any individual. It's just a better way of phrasing it.
Tim Callister.
You know, I think when Malcolm Jenkins is talking to something very important to people, and very important to him and his community, he probably shouldn't be dropping in Blake Bortles jokes in the middle of it. On top of all that, the Eagles are 3-4. They don't really need to be calling out anybody getting ready for this game.
So the Jaguars. And Jalen Ramsey stopped calling out people. That's how bad it's gotten. We'll move on. Buy or sell 3. The best pass ever to clinch a triple-double. Giannis and the Bucks battering the Sixers. Milwaukee is 4-0. Spider Mitchell, 38. Jazz rolling the Rockets last night. Melo's got this one, guys. Melo's got this one. Oops. Clinton, who's got the more concerning start? Houston's 1-3. Philly's 2-3.
I think it's got to be Houston. I mean, look, no other team has an aging veteran that had an existential meltdown when he had to figure out he had to come off the bench, nor does he have a past history with his coach with another team. That could be a problem. Nor did they get into a massive brawl in the third game of the season in which somebody got suspended. They're the biggest mess right now in the NBA. What are we talking about?
Brian?
I think there's plenty of time for Houston to straighten themselves out, particularly since Paul didn't even play. Philly is stumbling out of the block, much like Boston, and people wondered if they added enough peripheral players to augment their central players, and I'm not sure that they did.
Mm-hmm. Tim Calishaw?
I think it's got to be Houston. I mean, you look at Harden's in the middle of his career maybe, and he's even doubtful for Friday. Paul, we saw in the playoffs last year, not going to play forever. Carmelo, we don't know what he has left and if he's even a negative going to this team. Philadelphia's a young team. They got time to figure it out. The Rockets really don't.
Jay.
But Philly has their guys. I mean, Houston missing Chris Paul while he's suspended for the fight right now, maybe missing Harden, so you really don't take these games into consideration. Philly, this is the first time they're dealing with expectations and pressure. They're not responding well, particularly defensively, one of the worst teams in the league in forcing turnovers.
Ooh. No, the league offense has gone up in the NBA. The offense has gone up and around the horn. Really has. Yates, Ryan, you're going home, but you're going to love your points per game, I think.
You got to play the catch.
Right here. Calishaw, Adonde. Showdown next.
Hop in that rental car, Clinton.
If you're a smoker, you know switching isn't easy. You've tried vapes and e-cigs. They just didn't deliver the satisfaction you expected. But Juul is different. It's not an e-cigarette. It's a vapor product that actually satisfies. Plus, Juul is simple to use, and there's no cigarette ash and no lingering odor. As a smoker, you expect a certain nicotine experience, right? Juul delivers. Give Juul a try. Check out JUUL.com/sports. Switch and be satisfied. Yes, you can do both. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Kalisha Adande showdown. Lakers won a basketball game last night. The Phoenix Suns. This came after Luke Walton was upset with referees on the court. He got fined. And he was upset with his team in a hotel room, apparently. They scored 131 because the NBA is in 2018. Lakers, just one win or something more, Tim Kalisha?
I'm going to say a little something more only because they don't have to answer any more questions about when are you going to win a game. But I never thought the 3-game losing streak was that big a deal, losing to 3 Western Conference playoff teams from a year ago.
Something more because finally the Lakers have a leader. Who was leading this team? There was a void there. They didn't feel like LeBron's team. They didn't feel like Luke Walton's team. But now he got angry and they responded. So that's a good sign for this team.
He being Luke Walton.
Yes.
You're saying this is
coach,
Luke Walton,
the coach of the Los Angeles
not LeBron James' team? That's what you're saying, Jay? I'm not sure if I'm buying that one. Boy, Tim Kalisha. We'll move on. Vegas Golden Knights just signed Nate Schmidt to a 6-year, $35 million extension. Nate Schmidt currently serving a 20-game suspension for PEDs. Jay, what do you think of it? What do you think of the timing of it?
Doesn't exactly send the message to say no to drugs, right? I mean, I would take a 20-game suspension if it meant there was $37 million coming my way. You weigh them, it's really not that big of a loss and not that great of a message sent by the Knights.
I think it's a really bad message. The NHL was really kind of slow through the years to even put in a drug policy. And what would have been the rush? Why can't you announce this a month from now, 2 months from now? He's not going anywhere else. At least wait till he's off suspension.
That part I hear. The details of this are interesting, though, because Vegas has been very supportive of Schmidt throughout all this, throughout the tests and everything. And now they support him in a different way financially. We'll move on. Being called a fast dinosaur, you know, the one with horns, a triceratops, like Eric Weddle called Cam Newton.
He's a dinosaur, a fast dinosaur, muscular and big.
He's got Paul Rudd voice, doesn't he? Tim, should Cam consider that a compliment?
If you're Cam and you've been wearing Superman vests all your life, you only want to be a T-Rex. You don't want to be a Triceratops. You don't want to be a Stegosaurus. It's T-Rex or bust for Cam.
Definitely don't want to be a Brontosaurus. Maybe a pterodactyl. Yes, I pronounced the P. Or how about a velociraptor, something faster, like fast dinosaurs. Like, you don't think of dinosaurs as being fast, right?
Oh, man. You pronounced the P in pterodactyl? That's interesting.
I chose to.
You know, Pablo Torre shattered my childhood when he told me a pterodactyl is not a dinosaur. The pterodactyl, pterodon, they're not in the dinosaur family. I don't know. This is what Pablo Torre said. Tim Kalisha, this is your first win since losing your appendix. People said it couldn't happen. There you go.
It was harder than I expected it to be. First of all, shout out to Jay Adande for his birthday. I think he's now as old as I was when I came on this show the first time. Second, I want to give a shout out to Adam Thielen. Not only does he have 7 straight 100-yard games, right now on pace to break a 16-year-old Marvin Harrison record, 143 catches in a season. He's on pace for 152. There is no stopping this undrafted player from Minnesota State.
There's no stopping him. There's no stopping J.A. Adande. Happy birthday.
We're a couple of dinosaurs.
Fast dinosaur.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth. Teenagers can communicate entirely in emojis.
How was the birthday party? Pizza slice, kitten, soccer ball, pineapple?
Truth. It's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at Geico.com.
What are you talking about? Paperclip, shoulder shrug, high five, wizard hat? What?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.